And welcome everyone to the City Council meeting, and thank everyone for coming. If you wouldn't mind going ahead and standing with us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll have Pastor Flanoy come and lead us in our invocation tonight. So if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for your many blessings that you've bestowed upon us, especially your Son, Jesus Christ, and his salvation. But we ask that you fall fresh on the City Council. We pray and thank you for your leadership that you've given us, that the decisions we've made tonight will benefit the members of Bonner Springs. We give you the honor and the glory. And when we've come down from this place, we pray you be in the mechanics of our vehicle and see that we arrive home safe and find everything that we left, just like you left it. And we always give you the honor and the glory. We ask this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Now it's my honor. The first item of business is a proclamation this evening for Veterans Day. If I could have the veterans and anyone else that has served in our armed forces. Are there any other veterans here this evening? Veterans, ladies? Sir, ever a veteran? No? Canadian military? Well, it's Veterans Day. We've never, we've always been on the same side, I think. I hope. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's ways back. I'm very honored to give this proclamation, which reads this evening, whereas each and every American veteran has had a significant role in shaping America's past, our present, and our future, and whereas our veterans deserve our lasting gratitude and respect, and whereas our veterans have bravely answered the call to preserve the values upon which our nation was founded, and their service should make every American feel a deep sense of pride. And whereas we pray for the safe return of those currently deployed, and the VFW stands ready to support their families while they are away. And whereas we honor those who are dedicated to something bigger than themselves, we honor everyone who has proudly worn the uniform of our armed forces, whether serving at home or abroad. This elite group of individuals has endured that we are able to live our daily lives free of tyranny and fear. And whereas though we cannot repay them for their many sacrifices, we must show our appreciation through whatever means possible. And therefore, I, Jeff Harrington, Mayor of the City of Bonner Springs, do hereby recognize November 11th, 2021 as Veterans Day. This Veterans Day, we join with Americans across the nation in paying tribute to America's most selfless citizens. I ask all Bonner Springs residents to join me in focusing your thoughts of thanks to those who fight to protect our way of life. Thank you very much. Do you have any words you want to add?
I just appreciate you taking time to appreciate all of our veterans, because we need to continue to remember who they are and to acknowledge them, and it's a great honor to be a part of this group.
Show our respect. Thank you very much. Thank all of you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll shake everybody's hand as we're going out. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good work. All right, we're getting ready to move our way into the rest of the meeting. Excuse me. And the first item is our consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes the minutes from the October 25th, 2021 City Council meeting, claims for city operation, third quarter 2020 financial reports, and appointments to boards and commissions. Anything to be pulled by the citizens? Staff? Questions or concerns from the council? I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Reeves and seconded by Mr. Shannon. Vote, please.
Mackey?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Wood? Yes. Kip?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to our first item, an ordinance approving the placement of additional stop sign at West Inslee Avenue and Bluegrass. Staff? Push the button on the bottom of the mic.
Good evening. Frank Abart, Public Works Director. We had a request from a citizen to evaluate the placement of a stop sign at the intersection of North Bluegrass, West Inslee, McDaniel. It's right there next to the high school, and discovered that this is essentially a four-way intersection, that three of them have a stop control as they approach the intersection, and a fourth does not. We immediately requested the city engineer to do an evaluation and review. Upon such completion of the review, he's recommending that we go ahead and place that fourth stop sign and make it an all-way stop. Public Works concurs, and henceforth we have this item before us, ordinance amendment, to go ahead and make that an all-way stop at that particular intersection. That concludes the report.
Very good, thank you. Anything else from other staff? Citizens? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the City of Monterey Springs Local Traffic Control Regulations Code, Section 14202, adding an additional stop sign at West Inslee and Bluegrass Drive, making the intersection a four-way stop.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Shannon, seconded by Mr. Mackey. Questions, concerns, comments, and we'll start right here with Mrs. Woods.
I really do have a kind of a comment, because we tried something like this some time ago, and it made a terrible mess as cars lined up down Inslee, waiting for nobody to come from either side. Now, where there have been crashes is at the corner of South Bluegrass and Pratt, I believe was it. But I went to school today and I said, have you heard about this, to two gentlemen who should very well have been contacted. They had heard nothing. And I think this is very unfair to go, boing, we're changing everything at the high school in this one place without checking. And I've been asked to give all the information to one of the gentlemen to whom I spoke. It was all in the open,
Okay.
agenda. So, but because this is going to take some time to get the kids used to this.
Sure.
And
Yeah, it'll be a change.
yeah,
for
but I
sure.
have noticed no big problems there. Occasionally, there's a car coming out of Bluegrass, and I don't know what the complaint was. Can you tell me the nature of the complaint, just in general?
In general, the complaint was that it was unsafe to have one of those intersections where you don't have to stop because it was causing a conflict at the intersection. This particular person seemed to be very concerned that she was afraid she was going to be hit every time she got involved in that intersection. And she was worried about high speed because the people who are used to taking that route don't seem to be slowing down at all as they approach that intersection. This was not necessarily observed in that way by the city engineer, but the city engineer did contact the police department and did contact the school superintendent for comment and input as he was putting together his recommendation. So beyond that, yeah, there probably hasn't been a widespread request for input related to whether that should be an all-way stop or not.
I just think there ought to be that actually involves personnel who are in charge at the high school, which it's going to affect, and I'm just wondering.
Well, yeah, like I said, contact was made with the school superintendent for input.
Well, we need to
apparently-
let the high school know so that they can start training the kids for this. That's
I
the
think it would be-
biggest thing I'm saying.
Sure. If
Can
this,
you-
oh, go ahead.
Can you get in touch with the principal at the high school and Officer Cullum and, talk to them about how we can get the kids used to this? Because if it's such a big problem, then we need to have,
Sure, I would assume that
kids
if this
trained.
passed, we would be going out there anyway and trying to communicate in advance with the school before this thing was placed.
And I know you
Give
were going
'em-
to put
give 'em enough
orange
notice.
things and everything to get the kids ready for it.
Yeah, there'll be some flags and stuff to make sure
But I do
everybody
want you to-
knows. But,
This was probably before you came, when they had something there and the cars were backed up
oh, see, yeah.
onto, yeah,
I don't know of anybody who said anything about that, so.
I'm just
Until now,
saying
until
that it
now.
happened.
Okay. Traffic backing up.
But we want to make sure that the school knows in plenty of time so that they can announce, and maybe even have that picture that is on, was in our minutes, that he can display in some way so the kids will be aware.
Sure.
Okay,
There should be a communication effort.
yes.
Yeah. No, good point.
First of all, I want to appreciate Councilor Wood's comments. When I looked at this, I kind of had that same wonder if that somewhere in the past, if it was chosen not to put a stop sign there because of that potential for backup in the morning when the kids are trying to enter the parking lot. Do you remember how long ago that was?
I really do not, but I know it was a problem.
I'm just wondering if it wouldn't hurt if we could do a little research and find out. Are we going to create the same problem and repeat history because I can see those homeowners along there getting very upset if they can't get out of their driveways for 20 minutes, 30 minutes because the cars are all back.
That was actually one of the problems. Yeah.
So I understand and I think it's a good idea, but I'm concerned they're going to create a bigger problem by putting a stop sign there at the current time. That's it for me.
Yeah, and I was gonna bring that point up along with another point, because when I taught there coming up that hill, especially in the wintertime on those days when there was snow on the road, you didn't want to stop going up that hill. So that creates another problem right there. You get backed up, or you got people sliding around up there at that intersection, trying to get going after they stop, trying to get into that parking lot. So
That's a hill.
I don't know, that, Chris, I don't know that there was ever one while I was there. I think it was before that, so that's before 1976.
Well, I'm older than you are.
You're dating yourself there, Reeves.
But yeah, that, and I just wanted to make sure that there was marked that we do something like putting the flags on or
Oh,
some
yeah.
lights or something
But-
on it at first for a while to get it.
They're going to do that, that was
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
But I still think
Yeah.
it really needs to be
Yeah.
considered because that icy hill, Inslee,
Yeah. I think the woman who was focusing on the complaint was really concerned about the speed at which people were blasting through that intersection. So, but these are other considerations, we,
The other accesses to the school property don't have any restriction on inbound traffic. It's all outbound, just like this is.
mhm.
And I'm trying to think of all the other parking lot exits have. Maybe the next parking lot exit to the north doesn't. Maybe the next parking lot exit to the north may not have a stop sign as you're exiting the high school parking lot. But all the other exits onto school, from the school property onto city property, I believe, has,
Public roadway.
yeah, has a stop sign.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
that's a good point, but according to law, anytime you're leaving a parking lot, driveway, or an alley, you're supposed to come to a complete stop before you leave onto the road. That needs to be stressed also.
Yeah. Anything else? No? Sir? 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 No other comments, concerns, questions?
I just want to once again underline the fact that I want the people at the high school, not just the central office, but at the high school to be talked to, so that they can plan to tell the kids
Okay.
that this is going to happen.
I mean, certainly we can, delay this or put it on hold. Whatever your wishes are, I guess. As far as I know, that's the only complaint that we're driving on with this, and that's what the city engineer did his evaluation on. And so if that's not sufficient to move forward with it, you can certainly delay this until I've had time to actually talk to the people at the high school myself.
That's fine. I do know, not so much from personal experience, but from observation, that's how I'll put it, that the speed does go pretty quick up that hill. Wasn't me.
It may still go.
You were
and
just
then
keeping it up.
Squealing to a
I'm
stop.
not
So I
mimicking
think,
the other.
I think signs maybe need to go all the way up, 5 miles an hour or something like that.
We have any other discussion on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, I'd ask for a vote, please.
Voting on a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the City of Bonner Springs Local Traffic Control Regulations Code, Section 14202, adding an additional stop sign at West Inslee and Bluegrass Drive, making the intersection a four-way stop. Stevens?
No.
Hip?
Yes.
Wood?
No, not at this time.
Thompson?
Yes.
Mackey?
No.
Shannon?
Yes.
Reeves?
No.
Motion fails 4-3.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I can add something. I liked what Mr. Avard said, that go do a little bit more research and see if we can find out, talk to the people at the high school, see look and see if we believe there could be a potential issue with backup, and then come back and, if we believe that it's going to be an issue, not an issue, then
Investigate other traffic control measures, if any possible. We'll ask the staff to take care of that for us and liaison between us and the high school staff, and then bring back recommendations, because I do recognize there is a complaint that is valid.
Right, and I don't want to be dismissive.
We've all recognized there are concerns, and we just want the best practice. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 2, fiscal year 2022 Special Traffic Enforcement Program STEP Agreement. Staff?
Hello, Sergeant Pate with Bonner Springs Police Department. We are recommending the approval of the agreement with the State of Kansas Department of Transportation, and the Bureau of Traffic Safety for the STEP Approval Program, which is the Special Traffic Enforcement Program for 2022. Basically, STEP allows for about $4,000 in this agreement to be issued to the police department, which will allow for officer overtime and salaries for the enforcement during the specific campaigns listed by the state of Kansas, which there are 4 every year. We are required to participate in 3 of those 4. If we do that, we receive benefits from about $25,000 to $3,000 of traffic enforcement equipment money from the state of Kansas. So there's no cost to the city other than us driving patrol cars. Everything else is reimbursed on top of the fact that we get the additional money for our equipment. Happy to answer questions.
Very good, thank you. Any other staff comments? Concerns? Citizens? Questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion to adopt.
Ms. Wood, Mike?
Oh. Make a motion authorizing the city manager to sign and execute the sub-award agreement required for participation in the STEP program.
Second.
So moved by Mrs. Woods and seconded by Mr. Thompson. Questions, concerns, comments, and we'll start down here with Mr. Shannon.
Nothing, glad you're bringing it to us and glad it's happening. Good.
Just for clarification, was that 2,500 to 3,000? Okay.
This was a most complete report. Thank you. It was,
Nothing here.
Very good. No other questions, concerns, comments. Vote, please.
Voting on a motion authorizing the city manager to sign and execute the sub-award agreement required for participation in the STEP program. Thompson?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to item number 3, the 22 through 26 Capital Improvement Plan, CIP. Staff?
Thank you. This is a document that goes through 2022 to 2026 capital improvement. So this is inclusive of equipment purchases as well as improvement purchases. This is something that we talked about during the budget session. This is more of a formality as far as the approval is concerned, but also want to draw attention to the document that is attached. This goes through in great detail all the items that are listed as part of the allocations. So generally speaking, over the 5-year period, this is an investment of about $18.5 million across the board. This is by and large looking at capital improvements, but also about 75% of it, and then 25% is capital equipment, things like vehicles. Again, the document, I do want to recognize Matt Zayas. Matt, in addition to working through a lot of the benefits and HR functions, takes on some additional tasks from time to time, and this is one of those things. But put this together, again, just as a additional information, transparency as far as what we're looking at as investments, again, in 2022, and then more broadly into the coming 5 years. So, again, happy to answer any questions on any of that, but just seeking approval of the CIP as presented.
Very good, thank you. Anything else from other staff? Anything to add? Great. None? Questions, concerns from the citizens? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the 2022 to 2026 Capital Improvement Plan.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Mr. Stevens. Questions, concerns, comments, and we'll start down here with Mr. Reeves.
I just was going to compliment the staff, because a lot of times we get these things, a lot of data, but not really a good description of the projects, and the project information sheets that were attached that outline each of those items that were placed on there were very informative. So I do want to appreciate that. That's it.
Sir?
Exactly the same thing Councilman Stevens said. That was a fantastic report. It really lays it out in a quick educational format that we can get through. I love it. Thank you.
What they said.
It's already been said.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there you go.
Great job, guys.
Sir? Well, I have nothing additional to add other than to agree. So, no other questions, concerns, comments. Vote, please.
Voting on a motion to approve the 2022 to 26 capital improvement plan. Wood,
Yes.
Kip,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to item number 4, an ordinance approving a franchise agreement with Southwestern Bell Telephone Company doing business as AT&T Kansas. Staff?
If you recall, similarly to our last meeting, this is another franchise agreement, this time with Southwest Bell, now more commonly known as AT&T. This is an update to an existing franchise agreement, predominantly driven by the build-out of fiber throughout the community. A lot of this is going on now. So again, this is just generally an update. We've worked through this over the last 6 to 7 months. City attorney's gone through it as well. So we are recommending approval of the franchise agreement as presented.
Thank you very much. Any other staff comment? Seeing none. Citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance approving a franchise agreement with Southwestern Bell Telephone Company, DBA, AT&T Kansas.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Shannon and seconded by Mr. Mackey. Questions, concerns, comments, and I think we're starting right here.
No.
Sir?
I just want to thank AT&T for doing this. It took us a while to get fiber, and I'm crazy excited.
Sir?
Nothing here.
Sean, can you kind of give us a quick, very high-level rundown of the different things that are going on fiber-wise? Is it all for governmental? Is it all residential? Is it both?
So what's going on now is what they call kind of the last mile of fiber build-out. So typically you'll have somebody come in and put a big trunk line that goes through a community. What AT&T is doing is taking it a step further and making this readily available for residences, commercial businesses, so on and so forth. So it's really kind of the driving force is that this is really just to upgrade old fiber optic to truly fiber cabling. So this will, again, start with, it's already begun with about 900 homes. I think that they're building out right now, or at least connection points for 900 homes to connect to this system. And then I believe they've got another 600 slated for next year, and then just slowly building off of that. So again, this is fully intended to be usable by the residents, community members of Bonner Springs.
Nothing.
Nothing else.
No other questions, concerns, comments? Vote, please.
Voting on a motion to adopt an ordinance approving a franchise agreement with Southwestern Bell Telephone Company, DBA AT&T Kansas. Kip,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Mackey.
Exuberant, yes.
Motion passes.
I don't know that there's a column for that, but. On to our next item, an ordinance to approve the Fourth Amendment to the employment agreement with the city manager. We don't have a staff presentation. We worked on this in our executive session. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the Fourth Amendment to the employment agreement with the city manager.
Second. Yes, that was awesome.
We need to make mention what that what that ordinance is going to include. So if you could clarify your motion.
To increase the,
That ordinance,
to 2 steps.
2 steps. And that's what you were seconding?
Yes, sir.
So that motion has been made and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments from the ordinance was made by Mr. Thompson and seconded by Mr. Mackey. Questions, concerns, comments, and we'll start down here with Mr.
I
Reeves.
think we're showing our appreciation for our city manager and all those things that he's done for the last year or two that have been pretty much above the call of duty.
Just want to comment that all of our employees here, all the staff here at, for the city of Bonner do a fantastic job, and that just reflects the leadership at the very top.
I cannot believe how much you all have to do. And thank you for doing it cheerfully.
Outstanding job, Sean.
I agree and concur with that. You've done a phenomenal job. I pretend to apologize for all the tons of calls and midnight texts, but hey, you're doing a great job. It's appreciated throughout the city.
Proud of you.
Very good. No other questions, concerns, comments? Vote, please.
Voting on a motion to adopt an ordinance approving the Fourth Amendment to the employment agreement with the city manager to increase 2 steps. Shannon?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to our reports for this evening, the first of which, the city managers. Sean.
Just a couple of things. Did note in the report, did have, I think, a productive meeting with Lieutenant Governor last week in Topeka regarding the fiber project that was included with the unified government. So that has kind of continued, will continue into next year, but did just want to bring note to that effort is something that we're working on. With that in mind, too, I think a lot of folks have seen that the infrastructure bill is working itself through the federal government in terms of being signed. Frank's working through that specifically as we look at our utilities. We've got several big projects going on in that with the water plant, some build out of some older water lines, and then also trying to upgrade our meter program. So again, that's something that we're tracking, trying to make sure that we're involved in. Just want to bring attention to that, just with a lot of stuff that we've got going on. I got a couple other things. Candy Cane Christmas, that will be going on December 4th with the mayor's Christmas lighting as well. We're always looking for folks to participate in the parade on that, so please reach out if you're wanting to do that. Amber has been working diligently with the owners of 125 Oak Street. Right now that's being braced, as many of you know. That's working its way through some legal procedures, but she did get with them on a new program offered by the state called the HEAL Grant, HEAL, but that's focused on remediating downtown buildings and trying to get those back up to a level of productivity that everybody would like it to be at. So again, that's where that one's at. And then lastly, redistricting is something that's going on across the country. So we have been working with the Legislative Council for the state, are planning to host a redistricting meeting here on the 30th. Some details are still getting ironed out on that, but generally speaking, that will be a virtual event, but they do have physical locations, this being one of them, that folks can come in and participate if they don't have access to a computer or any other means, or just would rather be present here. So again, circle that if you'd like to be part of that conversation. November 30th, the details will be coming out here shortly as they're available. With that, that is all I have this evening.
Very good. Redistricting, will there be a need to change the ward boundaries in Bonner Springs as well?
What we've, I believe, this is, I think we do this every 10 years with the census, so, yes, as we're getting more information on those census tracts and where populations have shifted, that's something that we'll be looking forward to be doing probably next year. Again, all that information hasn't been compiled yet, but typically we do it the year after the census is complete.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to city council reports, we'll start down here with Mr. Shannon. Mr. Mackey?
I wanted to mention there should be some stuff on the news tonight, as well as Facebook and all the social medias about some Wyandotte County development project stuff. My team and the people I've been working with have released a bunch of development stuff that could have gone better. We're trying to fight some of the improper tax stuff and our abuse of development agreements and things like that. So pop onto the news and watch that. Other than that, thanks for everybody being here. Have a good night.
Thank you very much for letting some of us speak our mind about communication.
Thank you, Sean, and city staff for all you do. Also, I saw that 90 kids are registered for winter basketball. 2 of those are the Kip sisters, so they'll
Watch out.
be wreaking havoc.
Throwing down.
I just wanted to give another shout out to the staff. Now that I have a grandson, I get to go to some events that, normally I would be frowned upon me showing up for, and that is the Halloween events. And the public.
They always need scary people.
I know. The library put on a nice event, and I can't say enough about the Parks and Rec, along with several of our departments. Fire department was there. I know the city clerk's office was represented. They did a fine job on that trail. That went, I think, really well, and it looked like they had a great turnout. So hopefully that'll be a repeat next year. Thank you.
Yes, thanks to all the city staff for sure. And then another idea, Frank, on the stop sign. Instead of the stop sign, may we consider slowing traffic down by having a school zone sign and maybe a 15, 20 mile an hour coming up that hill instead of a stop sign? That's just a possibility. That way the traffic could keep moving, but maybe at a slower pace. I've also noticed that coming through the high school, there used to be a sign there that for either 15 or 20 mile an hour, that sign's gone, has been gone for quite a while. Maybe it needs to be checked out to see if it needs to be there again. So, and then also, thanks to city staff and all those responsible for cleaning up along the creek, Stranger Creek, behind my, that's not Stranger Creek. Spring Creek, behind my house on down through the park. Especially in the park, I noticed how nice that looks now. It's been cleaned up a lot. So thank you for that. It looks great. Thank you very much. I'm done.
Very good. The streets inside the campus at the high school are school district streets, and whatever signage they have is, I believe, their prerogative. Yeah. The signage outside, where we're talking about, is a city street, and any traffic controls things are our prerogative, and I appreciate the communication. I know there's a lot of different ways to handle speed in neighborhoods, so taking a closer look at that, I think will be a good idea. Also, I had a gentleman ask me about the inlets down here in the downtown, stormwater inlets, and they were still plugged. Or I saw a truck out. Were they cleaning out those inlets? I saw one out on Elm and getting water or something. And then the ones around I think the guy who I was speaking with was talking about the inlets down by the post office. Oh. And I told him once the topsoil was stabilized, they'd probably be pulling those, but I don't know when that'll be.
Yeah, I can check. They do that just as a pollution prevention issue, but I can check with the contractor to see if there's anything that can be done as far as the winter and everything else going on. So, but yeah, you're correct. It's because of stormwater pollution concerns.
And I noticed that there is a tint of green in the areas that have had the seeds put down in the mat.
Yeah, yeah.
There is a tint of green, so hopefully these 3 days before it gets cold, we'll see some more darker tint. Since our last meeting, our communities continue to be impacted by COVID-19. The majority of us may not recognize that impact. Booster shots are available for those that have not had the vaccine yet, as well as they're now available for children as young as 5 years old, I believe. Please consult your personal physician to investigate your own personal need for getting vaccinated. I highly recommend that. Those that are the most susceptible right now are the ones that are having the greatest problem with the virus. So those that have many other health concerns, and it's not done. As much as the majority of us may have already accommodated a lifestyle that can preclude us from becoming victims of COVID-19, there's a lot that haven't. So please continue to educate yourselves and see what the opportunity for getting a vaccination could be for your own family. Thank you for everyone that put out such a great effort for the Halloween. I was too scary to be involved in that, so they asked me to not go. No, I'm joking. I'm very proud of the city, and that is a quality of life issue that the Parks and Rec take very important, and so I hope everyone can take advantage of that. It's great that we have a small town that can do that. As well as coming up with the mayor's Christmas tree lighting and Candy King Christmas, that holiday parade. All of those that can be involved in that, please take advantage of that. It is a great kickoff to our holiday season. It'll be on December 4th this year. Anyone who has any horse-drawn carriages or vehicles, they really would appreciate it if you could participate in that. And you can get information concerning that through Von Trent, the new director there, Shannon Broughton, and her phone number is 441-0461. If you need any other additional information on contacting Von Trent for Candy Cane Lane, please reach out. I want to close this evening with a tip of the week that was from our Bonner brief. Don't drive drunk or high or texting or with a small dog on your lap named Mr. Pickles, or while trying to squeeze another packet of Taco Bell fire sauce on your taco. So consider yourselves warned in Bonner Springs. Thank you. Yeah, government over. At your best. Any questions? I stand for questions. Seeing none, we're good.